Anna Robinson. I work for the Economic and Social Research Council. So trying to think about how to tell this as a story. I think for me it started about 10 years ago when I found myself, having spent 20 years in the education and charity sector, at a Lean Developers Conference, feeling like a complete fish out of water, wondering exactly how I'd ended up there. And the reason was, at the time I was working for a foundation that was interested in digital innovation to address social challenges. Had a strong social background, but needed to kind of skill up on the tech side. So I found myself at this developers conference. And what was really interesting for me was that all the key speakers, to a woman and a man, said exactly the same thing. The biggest barriers to developing new products and services and deploying them at scale wasn't technical, it was cultural, it was human. It was behaviors, attitudes, beliefs at an individual and a corporate level. Those were the biggest challenges they were encountering. And as I worked over the next few years, that was borne out by my own experience. I supported over 70 sort of early stage tech startups that were focusing on developing commercially viable ventures, but ventures that were also addressing social challenges. And there certainly were technical issues and indeed technical manufacturing issues. But the real problems they're encountering was the kind of the human stuff around that. Things like kind of questions around regulation, ethics, developing business models and revenue models. Pricing was a constant headache. How do you price and a new product or service, and how do you negotiate that with sort of incumbent organisations? There are kind of questions like about how sort of professional status comes into play. How do people who are established practitioners, experts, technicians in a given space react and respond when somebody rocks up with a completely new way of doing something? And there was also kind of this question, how do you measure your impact, both your commercial impact, but also your social impact? And how do you actually measure and demonstrate that in a way that is evidence-based and robust? So I then found myself working at the Economic and Social Research Council, and working particularly on sort of industrial challenges, and particularly looking at these kind of questions around sort of how do you innovate and how do you adopt new technologies. And it was quite sort of reassuring to find that, again, this key sort of realization had come up that actually, yeah, the technology is critical, but around the technology, there's this whole socio-technical human aspect that you have to address as well. Otherwise, you're ultimately not going to be successful. And I guess I had two thoughts I'd like to end on. The first thought and reaction I had when I sort of started at the ESRC was, oh my goodness, I wish I'd had access to all this expertise and knowledge in my last job. This would have been so useful. There was so many insights, so much depth of learning and studies that have been done that if I'd known about, that I could have used to help all these early stage companies that I was working with. And the second one is just how multifaceted these challenges are. And just realizing actually how relevant the economic and social sciences are across a very wide range of disciplines. So if you're looking at kind of smart connected supply chains and contracts and international trade, immediately you start finding yourself talking to legal experts. If you're looking at questions around sustainability, again, a huge area of study at the moment. If you're looking at questions of one of the key challenges we have is that we need to understand this at sort of an individual level, but actually how does this also work at a firm level? But what's kind of going on at a sector level? What's going on at an economic level, both regionally and nationally, even internationally? So we're finding ourselves talking to economists and human geographers. There's a whole regulation aspect to this as well that we need to understand, and the policy implication, policy effect, manufacturing. So you realise just how much the economic and social sciences has to offer this question of how you innovate and diffuse technology effectively in UK manufacturing, and the role and the kind of impacts that has on society as a whole.